But if he wants to talk, it's not going to echo in the meeting itself.
Maddie, can you test your sound by unmuting and speaking, please? Or Kelly?
To speak. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Oh, yeah,
Thanks,
that's
Kelly.
fine. Okay, I'll formally open our meeting with our council prayer. Ke nui tātou. Ka tuku mātou kia kāmai ngā māngai ko whiriwhiri kia mō te kaunihira o Tiku o Tika ki te mahi me te ngākau auaha, me te hakamahi i ngā pūkinga me te mātauranga i roto i ngā wānanga me ngā hakataunga kia ka tūria ai tētahi hapori e mita tika ana, e tūkotahi ana kamutu ka haka piki anō i te oranga o tō tātou rohe ka hakatau anō i ngā take o te rohe i runga i te tika me te pono. We ask that through council's discussions and decisions, the representatives we have elected may govern the whānau district with imagination, skill and wisdom to achieve a fairer and more united community that enhances the well-being of the district and solves the district's problems efficiently and effectively. Amen. Just a welcome to everyone in the room and those who are joining online to this extraordinary council meeting to adopt our long-term plan consultation document and relevant documents that go with it. We have a number of members who are in the room today and enough are joining online, but also I will move that we accept apologies from Councillor Court and Councillor Peskovich, and also lateness for Councillor Haukia Harawira, if I could get a second.
She's there now.
She's there, right, so apologies for Councillor Court and Councillor Peskovich. If I could get a second there.
Happy to second.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Stratford. All those in favour? Those opposed? Or abstentions? And those who have been received. Just a few mayoral announcements. Today is Ohuata in Waimaramataka, which is the first high energy phase of the new moon. So I'm hoping that helps us out with our meeting today. Recently, I went down to our National Council for Local Change New Zealand meeting in Wellington. And our president, Mayor Sam Bolton, actually did a little bit of homework around the indicative rates increases across our country for our 78 councils that govern the local government of New Zealand. The average is sitting at around 15%. So that's the mid-mark for councils. What we've got on this document today is similar along those lines. So we're sitting around the middle. A lot of work's gone into getting us into this. A reminder to everyone that today isn't us discussing the merits or not of the long-term plan. We're not adopting our long-term plan today. We're adopting the consultation document that we take out to our people for them to inform what our long-term plan looks like when we come back in May, June to adopt. So with that, we'll go to item 5.1, adoption of the long-term plan 2024-27 supporting information and consultation document. Before we move this though, I will allow questions to come through or clarification or any feedback from staff. When we get to the actual recommendation, we'll take that in parts, which is what we need to do process-wise. So happy to open the floor to any questions from our staff. Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Kia ora, thank you very much, Kahika. I am a bit concerned about the proposal that we've enclosed in there. We did ask, well, some asked for the service centres to go in this consultation document, but it's lacking any like financial information to help them base their decision on. And there's like the wording that I use in my notes is I feel that the options around service centres is skewed in favour of the literate because there's so much financial speak and no numbers. People actually need to know what the impact would be on their rates, and it's not in there. So I'm proposing that we actually just take those pages out today and do it another time because it's too late for you to add that information in. There are some other issues in there. There's some wording like grammar, which I can send through after, because I note the last point in the recommendation is, you know, the CE to do some edits there. But yeah, this is it. This is when everybody's going to start throwing tomatoes at us over this information that's going out, and that service centre is, it's just, that's not, I'm not supportive of those pages going out as they are. Kia ora.
Thank you. Is there staff commentary, and you could look to moving in amendment when we move the item itself, but commentary around that? I know from my perspective, it was an opportunity in going out for consultation to just gauge the community. I know that we don't have all that information there. Once we've gauged community feedback, there's more work that would need to be done, another consultation process, I think, to do that. But can we get some clarification around that from staff, please?
Councillor Boyd, who she's been working on this with us.
Councillor Foy.
Thank you, Mayor Moko, and thank you to Deputy Mayor Stratford for raising these matters. I concur with Mayor Moko that this is a consultation document, so it's essentially tabling this with the community. This isn't the end point, this is the starting point. And I think as well, when we get those numbers and actually realise how much we can save and the opportunities that we have for having multi-purpose centres, and instead of having one use for a building, have multiple uses for the building to have efficient use of not only infrastructure, but also staff time and effort and operational costs. I'm sure that our ratepayers will agree that it's a good use of time and considerations for our organisation. Particularly given the increases that we have for operational spending. These are the types of efficiencies that we need to look to in order to ensure that our ratepayer isn't picking up the tab for our organisational costs. So I thank you to the staff for putting this forward and giving the rhetoric around having multi-use centres, because now libraries aren't just libraries, they are actually a community hub. And we want to have those places that attract people to our district and are civic centres for our townships. While I have the floor as well, just the stormwater issue about proposing a new way to rate for stormwater, which is simplified. I think the narrative around having it a simplified way of rating, just like we do for water and wastewater, wasn't highlighted in the consultation document. It was raised in terms of a way to do things, but essentially the background to it is to be consistent with the way that we rate for wastewater and potable water at the same time, so that we can move to increase the program of delivery for stormwater over time, and therefore have the platform for changing the rating units to allow for that in the next coming years. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll pass over to staff. Next up in the line, I've got Councillor Vucic and Councillor Hauki-Harawira, but we'll pass over to you, please, for commentary around the multi-use service centres and stormwater.
Yeah, so in terms of the multi-use service centres, when we worked through this, we knew we had a lot more to do in terms of the financials and the modelling. So this was just an issue we just wanted to put out to the community. And we worked alongside our councillor to just gauge the feedback in terms if they are wanting us to go down this track. And then we would do further work for the next next round and do a proper consultation. In terms of stormwater, again, we worked with our councillor also to come to a fairer way to rate in this space, which does align with water and wastewater also.
Well, before we go to councillor Vucic, Deputy Mayor Stratford has a hand raised.
Oh, kia ora kahika. Just on page 40 at the bottom of the proposal, it says we would not implement any changes until July 25. You know, perhaps if we're not going to be doing anything until we consult again, the date needs to be pushed out on that consultation document. Sorry, page 40 of the agenda.
Thank you. We can, you can move an appropriate amendment to that effect at the time we consider this.
Councillor Foy.
Thank you, Mayor Moko. I think Councillor Vucic is on there as well. It was just to highlight on that point there that we can change that in deliberations. This is just tabling, this is a consultation item, and 2025, I consider a year a very long time, but I know that staff have a lot to do. But I think as well, considering that we need to pull together financials for both capital operations and depreciation for all these buildings, I think that's realistic, and that's why the staff proposed that timeframe. I didn't propose that timeframe. That's a realistic operational timeframe that the staff proposed. And also we need to ensure that it's realistic within our term of governance, because we do have to keep in mind the next round of council will be coming, and we don't need to create workload for them when we can achieve it within our term.
Thank you. Councillor Vucic.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, just a general comment. One is the Deputy Mayor picked up before about the financials being there, not being there, sorry, for the service centres. And I think that's important. Just a comment on the district-wide rating for Three Waters. I would like to see, and I know we have asked for some of the delegation to the CE to put clarity, to make changes. It's just to say that this is for both CapEx and OpEx, because currently OpEx is across the district, so that there's clarity there. Secondly, probably explanation of why we're consulting again. We've consulted on this several times. I think there's some questions people have been asking on that. And the figures that are there, I do have a little bit of concerns when I look at some of the detail. For example, the one in Kaukau, we reserve, which goes contrary to what really we should be doing when we depreciate as in terms of the long-term asset funding project.
You froze for about 20 seconds there. Can you just restate something about the Koru?
Yeah, Kaukau is one which doesn't have any water, so it's just a sewage. And what is going on there is we are building up a reserve that's continuing to grow and grow and grow, which is really contrary to how we should be handling depreciation in terms of the long-term asset funding project we did in the previous term. So that's why I have some issues about these figures here, but it does highlight, you know, where the costs lay. So I'm quite happy to go out for consultation again, but I know the public will be asking why we're actually doing that. So that's my general comments for that first section. Thank you.
Thank you.
So issue 2, we're discussing. Okay. So in terms of this issue, we also worked with our councillor to come up with the different options. And in terms of the calculations that we provided, these were aligned with the options, and we knew it would be this was the best that we could provide with the information we had. So if this needs further changing or a slight amendment, or we word it differently, we can do so.
Yeah, the wording changes just to make sure it's clear that it's both CapEx and OpEx. Some of the calculations you're working to current practices, and that was one of my concerns, that we are looking at this, but we haven't looked at other options in detail, including financial contributions and development contributions and various other things. But nevertheless, it's consulting. We can go out and do all of that. I'll speak on depreciation a bit later on in the following section when we're looking at our policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hauki Harawira.
Ai, kia ora koutou. Hey, I note page 22, 23, I think is quite lacking in what we are trying to achieve. And I just don't think the examples that are used on there would excite me to write a submission. It's more what isn't on the page, like and secondly, the picture's a little bit sleepy fox, like you've got the little kiwi crossing the road, which we usually have as a sort of a picture that says it's time to go to bed now. So if we're talking, I'm wondering if what we're trying to achieve in there is these are the projects that we are we're working on in the next 3 years, or we've nearly finished. So I'm not really sure. That doesn't excite me. I'll say that. If we're talking about the words in it, long-term plan, what are the things that are up in the next 3 years? It doesn't excite me. And I think we're being asked to, the public's been asked to respond on 3 questions only. Views about the stormwater rate, the water supply, and multi-purpose centres. So I'm not sure whether you need a few more questions in there, or is that all you want from feedback, because your feedback is directed at getting a response. And of course, you've heard me going, I've written several times about, I was very concerned with the rating, especially on Māori land, for the things that aren't mentioned in the policy. It may have come from 2021 and there's been no review, but other than that, I'd like to suggest that page 22, 23, and I say this with great respect for the Mayor and the CE, because I'm imagining that you'll be signing the pages at the front that says it's coming from the Koniera. So it just looks unclear. It's all good to consult and get lots and lots of views, but we need to be clear about what we're trying to achieve. Wainano, kia ora.
Thanks for that, Whaore. If I can speak to one of those, and then we can pass over the staff around page 22 and 23 in particular. The issues that we had agreed to specifically highlight and ask Far Northerners for feedback on were issues that we put up and agreed to within our workshops. So what I won't do is look to staff as to why we don't have more. I think we missed opportunities then at a governance level to raise further at another time, end of last year and the starting of this year. We are where we're at. As a precluder to passing over, of course, maybe some commentary around these specific things we're highlighting here, and maybe some of the graphic design elements too. We have to remember that when we take this out to Far Northerners, This is called a long-term plan because legislatively it's called a long-term plan. This is not a long-term plan. This is not what I want us to be doing. Only this for the next 3 years, but it is because it's only a 3-year plan because of Cyclone Gabrielle and 14 more storms that hit us last year in the August 2022 storm. This is purposely an incredibly light, could call it boring, but it's a catch-up. It's a catch-up plan, so we can't do the whole world in half. We're trying to get our roads fixed. That's highlighted quite extensively within this document. There are some things here that are that we're trying to get done, but otherwise we're going out to Far Northerners to say this is a catch-up plan. And a usual long-term plan would have years 4 to 10, where we would capture all of the community aspirations, our Port Community Board strategic plans that had things put in there that they wanted to put up. The next long-term plan will be much more bold, much more ambitious, much more exciting for the people of the Far North. This one here is a light approach, which is, and it's presented this way. I mean, you read it and it is. It's ever so slightly uninspiring, but it's by design that it's like that. Staff may want to add anything further to that, but is there anything further we could potentially highlight specifically on page 22, page 23 about what we will actually be doing some of those bigger items maybe?
We could do, if we could probably at a bullet point stage to say these are the projects that we are focusing on, but we must remember that we are adhering to the severe weather order that we got legislated to do. So like how Mayor has said, this is a catch-up in terms of where we've landed, and these are things that have been going for a little while now, and these would probably be questions as to from the public as to where we're at with these. But we can take on board some bulleted projects that we are looking at.
A part of that might be re-highlighting to the people of the Far North that our long-term plan is not going to be decreasing or taking away our community board placemaking funding or our community board contestable funding, and those are opportunities for us to still see cool things happen within our district. Still highlight that while it's a fair approach to things, there are still some Easter eggs that we are keeping in here. Any further questions from members?
Questions or just a discussion on stuff that's in the financial forecast that refers quite frequently to 5 years and a 3-year. One is on page 243. I can't find them all. I put it online. But 243 of this agenda, it starts number 6, managing our assets over the next 5 years. Just wondered if the numbers reflect 5 years instead of 3. It'll be good. Needs them into 3 years. And we make a comment about asset management in several places. Industry water talks about gathering evidence on condition of water assets. Level of service, developing asset management systems to ensure asset control will allow improved planning for asset replacement. Just wondering, I thought there's quite a detailed depreciation schedule here somewhere in the books that show all the percentages of the assets. So you've obviously got something in there that relates to the value of the assets, which should also relate to their condition, etc. So it just seems contradictory to me, although I know that we've got better asset management.
So we've got a 3-year long-term plan, but within these documents, there is quite a bit of reference to actual 5-year planning. We have some commentary around that. And then what was the question around depreciation? We've got a schedule in here and
It's about the asset. We talk about having to update asset management in several places, and you're depreciating. You've got a depreciation schedule that's working on an asset schedule of some sort. You can't depreciate without a balance sheet showing your assets.
5-year infrastructure strategy.
We're doing a 5-year infrastructure strategy. It's part of it.
Yeah, why can you talk to that?
So,
Normally you would do a 10-year
Yeah,
long-term
yeah.
plan and a 30-year.
yeah, 30-year infrastructure strategy goes, so this one,
3-year long-term plan with a,
5-year infrastructure strategy.
is that at our direction or at the direction of the legislation which is guiding our way of doing things?
I think it's in our direction.
Say again?
I think it's in our direction. I think it's legislative report. Yeah, we could have pushed it to 30, but we decided.
So we just grab Ryan back in with their hand up, she might be able to.
Yeah, I was, I know it's good.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, 5-year infrastructure strategy was a legal requirement.
Thank you for that. I suspected so. Otherwise it was a random number. Plucked out of the air. Thank you.
Another one is in the regional land transport plan. 21 and 27. On page 107 there, it talks about routine drainage maintenance. I can't find it in the document. Other years it's about 11.1 million. It also talks about their unsealed road meddling. And I've found that is on in the agenda, page 68, bottom of the top, road and paths. And it's the first figure's right, and the next two are out by a few hundred thousand. But in here, it talks about the unsealed road meddling in the regional transport as being operational maintenance. And in this document, it's talking about it as being total capital works. On page 68 of the document of our agenda.
So sorry, Steve, in the RLTP it's OPEX, but in our LTP it's CapEx.
Yeah.
We just get some clarification.
Oh, actually, it's referred to as renewals in this. Sorry, that's the renewals. But there's also under maintenance, it talks about routine drainage maintenance, and it's 3.3 million, 3.9, 3.8, 7.1 over the 3-year period. But I can't find it in here at all. Routine drainage. Under the roading aspect of it. At your same meeting yesterday, okay, Jeff Devine said it'll definitely be duplicated in here. And if we don't have it, it is in the TIO, that is, NZTA documents. But he says we formulated it. Get in there.
So, can I respond? Okay. So we've had a number of discussions with Jeff today in terms of aligning our budgets to what they have to date. And so we do have everything. I think you might have received an email if that's in regard to what you're discussing. We do have Jeff on the line for further comments in terms of the roading budgets, but from our perspective, from the information we've received, we've aligned to them to date.
Well, I really like the idea of routine drainage maintenance. It's 3 and 4 million annually to be in here, and I can't find it. That's my point.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. I thought we were going through section by section. Didn't want to interrupt Councillor McNally, but I was hoping to get on to roading a bit later.
When we move the items, it's just general discussion or questions, so that we don't need to adhere to standing orders, Councillor Vucic.
Okay.
To offer any questions now, when we get into things, we will be moving the items separately.
Okay,
So-
well then I just foreshadow that I have in the financial strategy some comments, and the proposed community outcome some comments, and probably several others as well. Do I do that just to take turns around the table?
You're welcome to do that. Then I'll be moving each of the room amendments individually.
Thank you. I'll wait for others to speak because I've had one shot at it, but I'll then add something else as well.
You definitely will get a further opportunity to influence what these documents say before they go out to Whā Northerners, Council of Research. Were we able to, and you said we've got NTA stuff online here. I wanted some clarity around, this is our roading recovery long-term plan following Cyclone Gabrielle. I wanted to make sure that the numbers we've got in this, and actually I know that we reference it very well within the kōrero within this consultation document, but I was hoping we could break this down further. The difference between our regular National Land Transport bid and what we need a rate for our local share, just to for our regular maintenance of roading. But there is still recovery that we are doing, which will not be taken from the National Land Transport Fund. It will be, and in the draft government policy statement for land transport, it reflects the fact that there are other pots of money that we will apply to in that space. We have just approved the local share for 3 of the 35 phase 3 slips that we still need to repair across our district following Cyclone Gabrielle. There are 33 further slips that are still going through the procurement for design. That will come out of a different pot. Have we reflected an indicative local share component, which is which has a much better funding assistance rate than we normally would get? Have we reflected those numbers in this book in our total roading budgets?
We have, as far as what we've been informed, is
Jeff online?
Yeah.
Please, Jeff. Because what I'd want to do within the consultation document itself is split those numbers up. So say, this is our total for roading. Of this is our BAU. This is the amount we're putting in, waiting for applications to central government for the central government share to fix the remaining 33 huge slips we've got across the network. You know, that sort of stuff. That's the level of detail. When we tell Whā Northerners, this is a light, sad, uninspiring long-term plan because we need to get ahead. Here's how much we're putting in to get ahead, and here's what you need to know we're doing to get us ahead. Yeah.
You can come back to that. I'll just go to the specifics I was referring to. That there, I think, is an error in our document. And if we've missed $11 million of funding, it's bound to be in here somewhere. I just can't find it. The other one that I come across was just simple things like you've got a public good rate relating to water that's in a drive. People with water tanks buy water, fill tanks in the drive. There's a cost to that, and you want a public good rate as well. Emptying septic tank, cost of that to use the dropping off and the thing, and sewage ponds. Funding impact statement. Various operations show a surplus. What will the surplus be used for, given it's rated for a specific purpose? Some of them are quite significant. $2 and $3 million. On page 164 of the online version, district facilities, environmental management and roading under operational funding all show the same thing. That says local authority, fuel tax, fines, infringement fees and others. Sits at 105,000 per each. I don't see how it quite sits with some of those operations. Page 210, asset management. Page 228, asset management. Looks like being developed. The 247 to 248, it discusses key challenges, culvert inspection, annual. A bit far apart, given the state of our culverts. And road safety, we're spending 27 million on road safety over the 3 years. Now we've had a pretty fair push at that, with speed management. 253 mentions five-year funding model again. It's just, I just think there's bits of it they just need to have a bit of a careful look at. And then we can get into John's line by line.
Jeff, has Jeff been able to connect and get his sound on to be able to respond? We should be 11.1 million drainage funding, as well as the separate apportionable recovery funding required for roads compared to just our TP. But
Your Worship, yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
yes,
Okay, so the first question is, does our LTP figures balance with the figures that are put into TO as a funding request? The answer to that is yes, and the finance team provided some information this morning that I've sent out to Councillor McNally and Councillor Court this morning to show the figures for those activities that are in the LTP figures. It may not be in the detail in the agenda, but the figures are there and can be circulated if required. In relation to the flood damage, so council approved funding for the 3 major slip sites at the last Transport Committee, and in that report there was an update on the further 35 complex slip sites what we're doing. Council currently funding those 3 major slip sites as approved in that agenda item out of the Emergency Works Reserve Fund. So I'm assuming, sorry, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that council has make provision for a Emergency Works Reserve Fund going forward that will be used to fund part of any local share requirements for the ongoing slip repair program. Your comment relating to the GPS, in the GPS a statement was made saying that funding for these major slip repairs will be on top of and above the funding for the normal roading program in the GPS. The government are intending to fund those slip repair works in addition to the business as usual roading funding.
thanks, Jed. But what I don't want, so what I'm saying is that we should be making in addition provision, because that emergency works bucket is for the future, not for the past. So have we increased the provision given to our emergency works bucket for the future to include those past 35 slips? Otherwise, you are utilising funding that gets put aside for this winter's storms and not playing catch up for last winter's.
Your Worship, I can't answer that question. You probably need to direct it to your finance team.
Have MTA provided our finance team those indicative figures for the 35 slips so that they could include it on over and on top of what we normally would give as a provision for emergency works?
I did that personally this morning, Your Worship, so I'm not sure if I've received that information prior.
So just look over at our finance staff. We then have figures that we can highlight within our documentation for the people of the fund about what those costs are and where that money is coming from. So our emergency works bucket, that breakdown, I should expect to see that have significantly more provision than it normally would as BAU, because it needs to take into account 35 phase 3 highly technical slips from Cyclone Gabrielle that need to be repaired across our network.
We have accommodated in our emergency reserves in year 2 onwards. But year 1, we remain consistent. So
Okay,
something we need to consider.
yeah, that does make me nervous when, what I don't want is any of this should not be contributing to the people of the Far North having to wait even further to see the bloody roads fixed. Yeah, don't write that, Susan. But do you see what I mean is all this detail, because at the coalface, we sit around this table and try and make decisions for the people. Then we go out and see for ourselves what they have to experience. I don't want us to be the contributor to any more pain for our people on the roads. So we've got numbers from NTA now with the breakdown that we can highlight a little bit more clearly within this document. And follow through. Right, over there, sorry, Councillor Hutch, I did hear you speak. Did you have a question?
Maddie,
You there, Moko? Mayor Moko?
Yes, thank you, Maddie.
Yeah, look, I got cut off. It's interesting what's happening to me. This morning I got cut off. And have you just voted on the long-term plan? Has it been voted on?
No, we haven't voted on anything yet. We just got
All right.
general
Okay.
questions and discussions.
All right, yeah. Well, what I want to do, is there provisions for me to move a vote of no confidence in the proposed long-term plan 2024-27 supporting information consultation document? Am I in a position to move that now?
We're going to move everything line by line.
What do you mean by that?
So we're going to take each of the proposed documents line by line to vote on. So we might as well go there now. So the recommendation A1, proposed significant forecasting assumptions. If I could get a move for there, I think that you were happy to move. If I could get a seconder. All fine?
yep, sure.
And those can be found on page. Forecasting assumptions. Star, can anyone help me with the specific page? Significant forecasting assumptions. Page 342. Can we put a little bit in there for annual plan deliberations? We can each itemize the page number included in there, pretty please. So proposed significant forecast assumptions have been moved by Councillor Radic, seconded by Stratford. Were there any queries or concerns that members want to highlight for these ones specifically?
So
We'll put it to a vote. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions?
Aye.
That's carried. We'll now go to item A2, the proposed financial strategy, which can be found on page. Someone can help me out. We need council reports. They've always got those good tags. Page 104. Page 104. This is like airline gates at the airport. It's like going to gate 2, but it's not next to gate 1 or gate 4. It's way in the show.
Please, Taiho, because I had a note in one of these. No, it's not that one. Cool, carry on.
Page 104, I'm moving our proposed financial strategy. If I could get a second there.
Happy to second.
Second, Corfai, did you have anything you wanted to raise for this
No.
one?
No,
We've got Chair Ward with her hand up.
Oh, kia ora me moko. Just on page 109, just clarification, please, around the targeted improvement rate on the bottom of page 109. The commercial rate is noted to be charged at 300%. I thought we were sitting on 2.75, not 3. Is that just an error? Or is it proposed to be raised to 3? Just clarification on that, please.
Is that 109 on the, are you on the online version?
Page 109, targeted improvement.
I'm in a printed agenda.
For the Paihia Central Business District.
Yes, it's got 300%. It should be
Oh,
275.
Yeah, sorry, councillor Ward, we have to get that changed.
What should that say?
2.75,
2.75.
275, sorry.
Thank you.
As mover, Deputy Mayor Stratford as seconder, are you happy for us to get that changed?
yep. Yes.
Right, change that. All right.
Comments?
Any other?
Yeah,
yes. Councillor
yeah,
Wilson.
on page, just on the financial, on page 110, you listed also some of the target improvement rates. No, that's sort of target improvements rate, sorry. Nope, I was looking for something else that was missed off where Sportsville was not put on in terms of a targeted rate. No, sorry, carry on. I do have a comment about the depreciation though and consistency. So it says continue use of the method of funding the next depreciation value to provide for renewals. We debt fund. That's what we actually do, and then we depreciate to recover the cost of borrowing and spread it over several generations. So, and on page 54, which is your policy statement, you'll see that it talks about plant and equipment, and it's to spread the value over different generations. So we're not being consistent in some of the things we do and in some of our assets. Now, I know this is not the forum to discuss this, but I just want to note that we are not consistent in some of the things in our practices, which I want to talk to Guy about. We'll get challenged on this.
Can we please get a note there that elected members earmark an elected member workshop on depreciation? The first time I've heard this.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Oh, no, sorry. Next, I take my hand down.
This is for A2, our proposed financial strategy. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
I have my hand up.
Oh,
Sorry, Councillor Boyd.
Yeah, just on that financial strategy, I just wanted to highlight about the roading and what Councillor McNally has raised about the roading itself. Our roading asset manager, Jeff Devine, has just highlighted, he's given that information to our staff today. But as part of that financial information that unfortunately I don't have, only Councillor McNally and Councillor Court have been given that information. The unsubsidised works. The unsubsidised.
I haven't looked at it, Felicity. I only received it at midday. I've just circulated it, or Casey's going to.
Yes, so I don't know what's in there, but until I read that, but I just wanted to highlight that as part of the LTP deliberations, although it's not a consultation item, that will be up for debate, and staff have highlighted that although it's not in this financial strategy or the or as a consultation item, we can move the budgets around as long as we don't increase the figure substantially at the time of deliberations. And for the financial strategy as well. For the housing for the elderly, I wanted to highlight my extreme frustration and disappointment at a huge amount of cost, over between $1 million and $2 million of ratepayers' money. So between 1% and 2% rate rise, because the housing for the elderly portfolio has not been divested. So that is costing our ratepayers at this time of huge financial hardship a huge amount of money because of the lack of delivery of divestment of the housing for the elderly, when we've been waiting now many years, and it was raised in our first council meeting of this triennium. In a whole year, nothing has been delivered in terms of the outcome to actually achieve that. So I know that our CEO is addressing that, but our ratepayers need to realise how much this is costing us because of the lack of delivery in that space. Millions. I'll continue with the vote now, but I think those matters need to be raised because the public aren't there in the workshops to hear these deliberations.
Thank you for that, councillor Foyle. In favour of the proposed financial strategy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions?
Aye.
Opposed, councillor McMillan? Order, please.
Opposed.
And councillor Radich. We'll now go to A3, the proposed infrastructure strategy on page 109.
What?
Sorry, can I have my again recorded in that motion too? Thanks.
Opposed. For the last one. Okay, we're going to the proposed infrastructure strategy on page.
Can you slow down, because the page they're all, the attachments are all out of order online. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Belinda.
Infrastructure strategy on the book in front of me, it's on page 199. If I could get a seconder for this infrastructure strategy, please.
I'll second, but I still can't find my notes.
All right, I'll just make some opening commentary then. For this one. If we go to page 208.
199. Oh my God.
That says it all really. An asset summary for the Far North District Council with only 30,000 ratepayers. This is what we as a council are responsible for. 2,507 kilometres of roads, local roads, 908 sealed, 1,598 unsealed, 550 bridges. That's actually 728 when you include large culverts, which are considered as bridges. 234 k's of footpaths, 24 k's of cycleways, a Hokianga ferry, 73 community buildings, 19 community halls, 6 council service centres, 6 libraries, 69 public toilets we own and 73 public toilets that we maintain, 31 wharfs and jetties, 27 boat ramps, 45 boat trailer car park areas, 500 hectares of parks and reserves in over 30 locations, 11 cemeteries, 28 playgrounds, and it goes on and on and on. All of this stuff that we look after or own as a council costs a heck of a lot of money. So I think the fact that we have found a balance and managed to decrease our originally forecast 33% rates increase when we started here, when Three Waters came back in, down to 16.5%, is a balance and a compromise that, while it is still high, I think any number is going to be high for the people of the Far North, that this is trying to find that balance. So if we can highlight this page here to the people of the Far North, well, that just goes to show, you know, that what this council has to do across this district is huge. And every single thing you do costs a heck of a lot of money. So I don't want to have to charge rates. I don't want to have to increase rates, but we need to just to do what we're doing right there to look after all of that.
And it's on top of all of our other work we do across advocacy, operational programs and everything in between. So I really did appreciate page 208, our asset summary for this infrastructure strategy, because it just really highlights for me what I am going to print and highlight to all the people in Parliament about what this council has to do. Got Councillor Vusic, then Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Moko. Look, and yes, we are trying to do a lot. The issue that I have, well, it's not an issue, is that if you look at page 100 and 203, it talks about the stormwater events, and we're having more frequent stormwater events or greater effects, whether that's through our culverts being blocked or whatever it be. That's not really what I'm concerned about. But what I'm saying is we need to do things differently here. So you've raised, look at everything we're doing, and I'm recognising the affordability costs on our ratepayers. And yes, it's 15%, which is the middle of the road. But when you actually add the deprivation into the count as well and compare it with other councils, it doesn't look so good. So what I'm saying is I would like to see an opportunity where we can look at things differently and how we can do that. And there's some examples of some significant savings we can do. Again, it's not a discussion for right now, but I would like to signal that's some work that we have to do if we're going to reduce those costs and make some serious savings in operational area. So, and I can give you some examples and just the way we do the road, and with the $2 million that we're actually doing on subsidised seals, we could be wiser on how we actually handle that. As long as we've got an opportunity to deal with that a bit later, I'd like us to do that and have that discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Thank you. Can you hear me? I don't know if I muted myself and I'm on the wrongs.
We can hear you.
Fabulous. I just wanted to know why cycle trails aren't mentioned in the infrastructure strategy, because we do own some.
And we receive money from the Great Rights to look after them. There should be some mention of that. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Our asset summary does have 24 kilometres of cycleways.
But yeah, it's there, but it doesn't go into great depth in the strategy, like every other asset category. Okay, no response, but I did want to commend the good work that staff have done on this infrastructure strategy. This is the third or fourth infrastructure strategy, and this is the most worked version that I've seen. I can see that somebody has had a fresh look at, or some people have had a really fresh look at our infrastructure, right down to having the new logo on some of the pages and the old one on some of the old pages. So please make sure that is tidied up before it goes out to the public. Kia ora. Oh, yeah, that's all.
Thank you. I haven't had any further requests to speak, so we'll put the infrastructure strategy to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstentions? That's carried. We'll now move to the proposed community outcomes on page 72.
Oh my goodness, where are we? 72. Happy to move.
Now we discussed these and what they look like, and we're happy to carry on with these. I think Councillor Vusic, are you looking to move these?
I am happy to second. I think Deputy Mayor moved it, but I just want to add a comment. Something that I've been asking for in this short plan is to do a bit more than just one page, just listing things there, which sound great. You know, I don't have an issue with that. But how about for every one of those communities of interest, we actually show what we're doing and how it relates to those areas in this current plan, which is something I've asked for.
Are you moving an amendment, Councillor Vusic?
Well, it's really a note. It's not there. I'm really saying, look, please put in this consultation document, amendment, if you like, where you're showing for each one of the communities of interest. So you're looking at North Okinga, South Okinga, Kirikiri, Kaikai, Kaitaia, and Te Apua. That's what I mean. Whangarua, Russell.
Sorry,
Do I have to list a lot? And then you just show what you're doing in this long-term
72.
plan. No, there's not 72. There's actually about 11. I'm talking
Sorry,
about the
page 72.
page 72, yes. Thank you. So it's just a simple statement there. And I think it's big
You can
categories,
raise-
and that's fine.
Raise that at B when we go to the consultation document proper as well. We'll put Councillor Foy.
Thank you, Mayor Moko. I think I was too late for the infrastructure strategy comments, but I just wanted to raise, I know that Tanya Proctor is in the room. In terms of the infrastructure strategy and the financial strategy, because we've got so many non-compliant wastewater treatment plants, and also so many consents up for renewal for all of our wastewater, and now that we're not having Three Waters, in terms of the projected capacity of our organisation to do that, as well as catch up with roading, I just wanted to hear from her about that infrastructure matter. And I know it's not a consultation item because it should be business as usual for our council, but our lack of delivery on Three Waters really concerns me, and I'm sure really concerns the public. So I'd like to hear from Tanya about that aspect in particular, because if we don't have roads and if we don't have Three Waters, then essentially our district isn't able to grow.
And you're linking this question to this current item we're discussing with the community outcome that communities are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable. Is that correct, Councillor Foy?
Thank you, Mayor Moko. Yes, it's both relevant to the infrastructure strategy and this item.
Thank you.
And I'm just wanting to hear from Tanya, if possible, please.
So just so I understand the question, Councillor Foy, do we have sufficient resources to deliver on the infrastructure strategy?
And in terms of the outcomes for our community, it's not a consultation item. So it's not an item of significance, but given the huge workload and the huge amount of work that we need to do, and the giant capital works program that's highlighted in this LTP, just the capacity to deliver on that promise to our community.
I'm confident that we have sufficient resources to deliver on a very streamlined program in the next 3 years. Yes.
With the regional council draft freshwater plan that's proposed, and also given our non-compliance of our wastewater treatment plants, do you think that we'll have compliance over the next 3 years for all of our wastewater treatment plants?
I think that we have sufficient resources to address our non-compliances, yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. We'll put the community outcomes to the vote, moved by Deputy Mayor Stratford, seconded by Councillor Vusic. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
For abstentions.
Aye.
A4 is carried. We'll now go to A5, the proposed capital works program on page 63.
Happy to move.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Stratford. Seconder.
Aye.
Thank you, Councillor Larkin. Deputy Mayor Stratford.
I can't find my notes, but from memory, the cycle trail is not in there.
We don't want it.
So objections from elected members aside, there is a huge business and residential towns in the Bay of Islands, Hokianga, and to the Hokianga that are counting on this realignment between Taumarere and Opua, and they were told that there would be 8 million in the next year.
If I
We could get, thank you. I'll just wait for people. Councillor Research, do you want to add to that before we get a response from staff?
Yeah, if I remember in the workshops we did, there was a commitment that needed to be in the coming financial year to continue the momentum forward. If we don't have anything in there, we are at risk of significantly losing Wellington support, and we can't put in for additional funding. So I know we said we'll move some of it out, but not all of it.
You there, Mayor Michael?
Please.
You there?
And just waiting for a staff response on that, please.
I actually noted the same thing. I had a question on that one because we just had meetings on the cycleway budgets in the past week. So I'll be looking for clarity from staff on that as a follow up to this meeting.
But if we adopt this today, this document, without having it in there, where does that leave us?
You could move it. It'll go out as is in terms of the consultation. But can I
It
just
was
make?
in there.
No, so it's.
Through all the workshops, it was in there.
No, the last workshop, it was discussed. And because I remember my comment I made, I said, we'll delete it. And it was changed to no, move it out to year 4. So that's what we've done. Based on the criteria that we were doing surrounding the capital program.
And meanwhile, we've got a working group and a train. You know, there's so much in jeopardy if we push out. It's only 1 year that we wanted to stay in. I must have missed that workshop or that conversation.
It was very clear.
Yeah,
it was if Maddie can talk because he was next, and I'll go after that.
I didn't catch that.
Maddie was to talk next. Maddie, then me.
No, I've got Councillor Research, then Councillor Rakina, then Councillor Radich, then Councillor McNally, and then yourself, Councillor.
Yes, usage. Look, I do remember very carefully because, and Babe and I are actually on that, and it was critical to actually have some funding, some to be moved out, because we didn't believe in the first year we'll be spending all of that funding. There's a lot of things that need to be done, which I don't really want to go into the detail at the moment, given the time we've got, but it is critical to leave something in there because we will lose momentum and potentially lose and cannot raise the funds that we do from other sources to achieve some of the results we need to do.
Are you looking to an amendment?
Yep, to add, do you remember what it was?
8 million.
8 million.
It was
Fully
16.
unsubsidised.
It
It's
was
not-
21 million.
There's no subsidy for it at all.
Yes,
there is a
you're-
subsidy.
you're-
Don't confuse cycle lanes with the Great Ride. It's 2 different things, and there is a subsidy. We've been subsidised by Wellington
for operations.
for operations, so they throw money in there based on our commitment.
So how much is that out of the 8 million?
Sorry, if we can just let me chair this meeting. So I have questions from elected members and then I will ask council staff to respond. If council staff are unable to respond, but you think you have the answer, for you to try and respond in their stead. So Councillor Vucic, you are moving this amendment to include.
Yeah, funding in there. Look, I'm happy to make it something like off the top of my head. I'd love to know that figure, but to make 4 million, I doubt we would use all of that, but that would probably provide the momentum we'd actually need.
So my
I'll
understanding is
second that. I'll second that. Sorry, Guy.
the council's.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Stratford, if you can stop interrupting.
I seconded his motion respectfully.
Understanding is that the council's previously approved budget for the cycleway between Pōpō and Kawaka was subject to central government and other funds coming in first. So we had an $8 million allocation, and then there was another 6 million of funding that was to be brought to the project. And I think my understanding is our 8 million was contingent on that 6 million coming in. And I think that's why we moved the 8 million out to start in year 4. But that was what I was looking for clarity on, clarification and stuff.
Can I just, before we go into this motion itself, because this is turning into our LTP deliberations type discussion we've got going on here. We don't have this number in this book here that we go out to consult on. Is the opportunity to have this discussion and to have it included at deliberations themselves? Or will then you've got time to run the numbers and all that sort of stuff respectfully. But will that then mean what is our cap in terms of adding significant things like $4 million in capex for our cycle trail at deliberations, then getting it in here? What's the what can you give me as options?
It's in terms of capital. Cycle trail. We can put the funds, the budgets back in.
How?
Then.
So we don't need to have this amendment here.
No.
But we can.
We can note it.
Point of order, Kahika. John Vusic made an amendment to our capital works program, and I seconded it because so I would like us to have the debate on that, please.
Thank you, Councillor Vusic. Speaking for your amendment.
Just so we understand, it's capital, so it's going to have no impact on rates until it's actually spent. The CE has correctly raised that we will be seeking additional funding to do the work. There is some relatively minor spend that's needed, but without that money in there, we can't go to the government and say, give us money. If they say, well, look, okay, but you're not putting anything up yourself. So that is the critical thing that I'm wanting to actually have there. The exact figure, I don't like to throw things around like this, but the exact figure, I don't know exactly what it would be. The overall figure was very large, but there are a lot of things that need to actually happen. But initially to raise the capital so we can actually do something and we can start the economic benefit flow again, we need to actually have something there. That's my reason for putting 4 million. But I stress again, until it's spent, there's no impact on rates.
Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Oh, I know that.
Kia ora. We have been landed this burden of this cycle trail, and we have been through consultation on this cycle trail, this realignment, like, is it 2 LTPs already? If this drops out of this document as something that we're not going to support for another 3 years, this is huge reputational risk for all the elected members sitting around this table. And remember, yes, the original council did not choose for the cycle trail to go from Opua to Horeke. It was the national government. It was John Key's baby. They gave $3 million. I'm not sure how much council has put in capital-wise to the cycle trail. It's probably barely anything compared to how much money this cycle trail brings into our district, and could potentially bring more, but we're at risk. We are at risk of losing the Great Ride status if we do not support this realignment. And I'm not going to, if we lose this out of the the proposed capital works today, we're just going to be front page, and I think it should go back in, and people need to have their say on the rates increase, and they need to have their say on what their priorities are. And this is one of my community's priorities. Kia ora.
Councillor Floyd.
Thank you very much. I'd like to speak against the amendment. This LTP is very clearly a 3-year LTP for a reason, and that's for our roads. This project is not subsidised at all in terms of capital spending. This money is taking away money that we could be spending on the right things that we actually create economic benefit for our district, which is roads. What we need is to fix our drainage, fix our culverts, improve our base course strengthening on our roads. We need roads before we have shared paths. And unfortunately, this does not have any government subsidy, and we need to get back to basics. I vote no.
You there, Michael?
Councillor Radich.
John and Kelly need to understand that the present new government is against cycleways. They've made that comment. They so to get subsidy from the government, it's going to be, well, you're not going to get it. And what Felicity just said is totally correct. You know, we're going to spend something like 4 million, and our roads are worse than a goat track. Bring the people at Whangapai. And here we are talking about cycle trails. What's wrong with us? Fix up our bloody roads and our water before we get on to luxury things like cycleways. For Christ's sake.
Thank you. Any further members wish to speak to the amendment? If we can get them, councillor Kapa.
I certainly support the move that we should add something or to keep something in there for the cycle trail. I want to remind us that new industries in the area is so important. And this industry of trail, it's not just cycle, but it's also walk, is a new industry that could benefit the whole of Taitokerau. There are examples already being used for this type of industry that will benefit the area. And I certainly want to support our ability to leave a fund figure there for the council, for the group.
Thank you. Councillor Busich, right of reply.
Oh, sorry, Hilda's got her hand up.
Councillor Haukiat Haruira.
Kia ora. Yeah, I took all the bench of if there's government subsidies. So, and I've seen the benefit of cycle riding to Ruapehu, you know, when the snow's not there. So, tautoko, kia ora. I would rather see us not pay money to fluoridisation.
Can I request a vote by division, please?
Yeah, my right of reply.
But Councillor Busich can have a right of reply first.
Yeah, just picking up on some of the things. One, it is subsidised. As I said, it's contingent on that subsidy. It is not a cycle shared path, as was stated. And I agree with Councillor Radich that the government has signalled that they're not interested in urban cycles and shared paths and various other things. This is different. This is one of the John Key's initiative very early in the piece, and it's to stimulate the economy. An estimate, a conservative estimate based on the numbers that were coming into there prior to the lane being cut was $60 million into the local economy. So it's significant investment coming in there. And we have that commitment to actually, and we have made that commitment a number of times, that we will restore that. The businesses dependent upon us, and businesses closed because we haven't actually got that running at the moment. Council has put the total amount that council has put in, looking at another figure that we had, was $8 million into the total Great Rides. Wellington, through the Great Rides, has put in as much as that and more. And that's not counting the subsidies that they do 100% to fix up storm damage on that lane. So it is a different category, a different beast, and it is crucial we have something there to show our commitment so that we can then go and approach central government and other sources, I might add as well, to actually get that re-established again.
Can I just get clarification from staff? On page 67, there's low cost, low risk walking and cycling, total of 7.4 million over 3 years. What's that for? 1.79, there's 2.8, and there's 2.9.
Page, sorry,
67.
we are going outside of standing orders as we've had a run of this. May help, page 179, did you say?
67 of this document. We're in the capital works.
Also want to reiterate, if you don't spend it, there's no impact on rates, and we only spend it when we get the additional funding.
It might already be in there, John.
Staff, page 67, low cost, low risk walking and cycling.
I think that may be general walking and cycling. I think staff need to answer that. This is specific to the Pohiringatai Twin Coast Cycle Trail.
Thank you. If all elected members could be quiet until staff have risen.
Point of order.
Point of order, councillor Foy.
Just to clarify the current motion, the debate has been about including it as long as it's been receiving government subsidy for the capital delivery, and that's not part of the motion. Can I get clarity from that in the motion as well?
We'll get the response around the funding that is indicated on page 67 first, and then we'll get clarity from councillor Vucic around the wording of this amendment.
So I'd like to hear from our NTA person on the low cost, low risk walking and cycling. So it's under the NTA budget. Jeff.
Your worship, the low cost, low risk funding is council's subsidised footpath program and covers our footpath works. And I'm not 100% familiar, but it may include some shared path works if council has applied for that as part of the program. But it does not include shared paths in the rural areas.
Right, that answers that. Councillor Vucic, can we get clarification before we vote on the wording of your amendment?
I think putting dependent on funding from central is there actually are several dependencies as we had in discussion, and that was the secured corridor and a bunch of other things. So it's probably redundant putting that in there, quite frankly.
Right, it has been moved, seconded, debate has been held, and we've had a right of reply. We put this amendment to the vote. All in favour say vote by division. I am in favour. Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Favour.
Councillor Foy.
Against.
Councillor Halkiat Harawira.
Aye.
Councillor Kappa.
Aye.
Councillor McNally.
Against.
Councillor Radich. Come back to Councillor Radich. Councillor Rakina.
Against.
Councillor Vucic.
Or
Councillor Radich. It won't change it anyway.
No.
Okay, then can you just put him as absent, and the amendment has been carried. Can I just get a standing orders clarification? That amendment was to A5.
You do.
Is that now a substantive motion for A5?
Yes.
So I need a mover and seconder for the substantive motion for A5.
Yes, given that we've just added that, can I make an amendment as well?
Yes, you can.
Remove the unsubsidised second coat seals. The unsubsidised second coat, unsubsidised ceiling, it's 2 million for 3 years, it's $6 million in total.
Aye.
Do I have a seconder for that?
Yep. Yeah, I'll second it.
Yes,
By who, sorry?
Usage.
Felicity.
To remove the unsubsidised ceiling funding. Councillor McNally, if you could speak to your amendment.
We don't get any subsidy for that from the, it's unsubsidised, it's totally ratepayer. It's under new work, so it's capital. The moment it's spent, it'll be rated under the interest cost. But I just think, you know, if you're going to chuck in something like that, 4 million suddenly for a cycleway, that's more important than seeing the road. Let's do that. What a cycleway. We'll see what gives better economic return over 3 years.
Thank you, councillor Floyd.
So, for point of order or point of clarification, is that a separate motion or is that a?
She's tidying it up now.
It's separate. It'll be separate, yeah.
So this
Because the previous one's passed.
No.
The amendment is passed. We have a further amendment which will form a substantive motion together with the last one.
You
can speak in support or against the proposed amendment, councillor Boyd.
The proposed amendment relates to the unsubsidised seal extensions. And in terms of the sorry?
2 million annually, 6 million over 3 years.
Not the exact figures, sorry, just point of clarity. For year 2 and year 3, or
All 3 years, remove it from the plan.
it's actually 6 million.
You don't need
Just remove that line out. So unsubsidised ceiling.
No further members would like to speak to this.
New one.
Can I just get a point of clarification from staff? Incomplete parts of this program from this year that would go through as carry forwards, are those budget line provisions still available for them to be carried forward, or would this money being taken out of the long-term plan then affect the seal extensions that we have already indicated to our community we would be undertaking? And does this carry reputational risk for us as an organisation?
Your worship, am I online?
Thank you, Jeff.
So any unspent funding from this year would normally be carry forward to complete the works till next financial year if council approves the carry forwards. It's a separate decision for council to do that. Future, the other item on the list, the unsubsidised second coat ceiling, that's NZTA have said they will not fund the second coat seals for new seal extensions, so that's to pick up the second coat seals on previous year's work, so we still need that activity to be put in there. The future seal extension funding is a choice of councils to decide whether or not they wish to invest money in unsubsidised sealing.
Thanks for that, Jeff. No further commentary?
So it's a separate motion now, is that correct? It doesn't
it's
relate to the cycle trail.
Yeah, it
He
shouldn't be
moved-
connected.
He
It's
moved
not
an
next.
amendment before the substantive was moved.
It's a further amendment to the
Yeah,
original.
it's not attached to the cycle trail. That was passed.
No, the cycle trail, so the motion was for us to adopt the proposed capital works program. We've had an amendment on cycle trails to A5. We've got A51 or A5A, whatever you want to call it, Ali. Now we've got A52. A52 is a further amendment to remove the funding for unsubsidized ceiling. That makes sense?
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, I can see that on the screen now. Thank you for the clarification, Mea Moko. So just to speak on this, this relates to a further amendment that I've raised at the workshop, so it won't be a surprise to the other elected members. And I've also raised it in my debate on the previous item about spending money on drainage. And we need to get back to the basics and fix our metal roads and spend our money on drainage. And the previous motion that we just voted on was to spend $4 million on a cycle trail. And if we're deciding to prioritise cycle trails over drainage, I would be shocked for our council. And talk about reputational risk. We need drains before we have roads.
Point of order, Mayor.
If you
Talk to
don't,
your item, Felicity.
I'll let the mayor rule on that because I think that item was actually just Kelly butting in.
Thank you, members. Now, I am considering no longer allowing virtual attendance to meetings because it is incredibly hard to chair something as substantial as this when we've got mixed mode. So if you could please be respectful of your online and use your hands. Now, my ruling on Deputy Mayor Stratford's point of order is that I don't uphold it. But Councillor Foy, I will ask you to get to the point. There's no need to relitigate the previous things. Speak for the motion as to why we should not be having unsubsidized sealed funding.
Thank you, Mayor Moko. The relevance of the $4 million figure is this figure here relates to $6 million. So in terms of relativity of spending, this item here is actually relative to that. And my further, this matter here about the unsubsidized ceiling, and the reason that it should be supported is because we need to fix our unsealed roads before we build new sealed roads. And we can do that and fix our roads first and then seal them at a later time. That means we need to fix our drainage and fix our base course before we can actually seal the roads. And in terms of the subsidies, we can target that, which our asset manager, Jeff Devine here, spoke about in our workshops. So I'm in support of the current amendment, and I will be moving another amendment relating to increased spending on drainage. Thank you.
And I haven't had any further commentary, so Councillor McNally, do you have a right of reply if you wish to?
Put it to the vote, please.
We'll put this to that mover and seconder is the wrong way around. We'll put that to the vote. All in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Unanimously passed.
Abstained.
Abstention from Councillor Radich.
Can you go back to the previous 5.0? I voted against that, and it's not even the previous motion, 5.0. It's not recorded.
Sorry, Maddie, we did not hear you. You weren't responding when that vote came through, but we will fix that up.
Can you put it in, please? Thank you.
Now we have a substantive motion for the proposed capital works program, A5, 1 and 2, which I am moving as a substantive motion, seconded by Councillor Kapa. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed or abstentions? Opposed by Councillor Foy. What are we voting on? The substantive motion.
Likewise.
A5, 1 and 2.
Which is the proposed capital works program in full.
Yeah.
Can we do vote by division 1 and 2 separate, or is it all together?
It's a substantive motion because they were amendments. So it's together now. as a substantive motion. Councillor Boy and Councillor Radich were against for that one. We'll now move to item A6, proposed groups and activities on page 165, which I will be moving. Seconder.
Happy to second.
Seconded by Councillor Akina.
Sorry, what are we on now?
We're on A6 on page 165, the proposed groups and activities, which I have moved, seconded by Councillor Akina. I don't have any commentary. Councillor Akina. Any further commentary? We'll put that to the vote. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? The motion's carried. Item A, looking at 7 on page 283, the proposed Northland Inc. activities. If I could get a mover, please.
I'll move.
Moved by Deputy Stratford,
Seconded by John Busich.
seconded by Councillor Messich.
Nothing to say from me.
Councillor Busich.
No, I'm happy.
We'll put that to a vote. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed or abstention, that is carried. We'll now go to A8, Farmers Holdings Limited activities, and that can be found on page 127. If I could do a mover.
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Busich, seconded by Councillor Akina. Councillor Busich.
No, I think it's pretty clear.
Thank you, Councillor Akina. Further commentary, we'll put that to a vote. All in favour say aye.
All right.
Abstentions, the motion's carried. We're going to item 9 on page 131. Forecast financial statements. If I could get a mover for those, please. I also move, seconded by Councillor McNally. Councillor McNally, any commentary?
Just some of the changes we've made. Sorry, I'm butting in.
Councillor McNally.
Just operational expenditures relating to the topics that sent through from Mr. Devine this morning. The figures don't add up, which relates to my 5-year comment. It's got 3 years there. They don't add up. So I think it's the 5-year total he's got still in there. But I still don't see those figures that I referred to earlier anywhere in the document. So it must just be wrapped up in our OPEX and the rating. Just like staff comment, please.
Is it safe to assume that those numbers are wrapped up in our totals?
It would be. It would be.
Okay. Jeff?
Your worship, the figures on your agenda show the capital program, but we don't show the OPEX program in detail. And so I'm assuming that's wrapped up. Perhaps the finance team could comment.
We'll take your first statement. Thank you. Councillor Busich.
My comment was just to say, it was similar to what Councillor McNally was going to say, just there may be some corrections needed, and also with some of the changes we've stated may have to mean the forecasts do change slightly. But I'll leave it to staff to sort that out.
Thank you. I believe that item C of our recommendation will give our chief executive the power to make the changes that would be needed to be made.
Throughout.
Thank you for that. All right, we will put that to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstentions, that's carried. We'll now go to item 10, 18 on page 151. Proposed funding impact statements. Happy to move, seconded by
I'll second.
Councillor Busich. Councillor Busich.
No comments.
No comments. We'll put that to the vote. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? or
Oh,
abstentions?
sorry, Belinda was trying to comment.
Sorry, I've been putting my hand up. Just wanted to comment on that, Memoko. On page 156 of strategic relationships, I don't actually think this is adequate enough to go to consultation with. I had trouble finding out where the community grant fund and placemaking fund was, and staff have kindly pointed me to under the applications of operating funding. So I'm not sure whether councillors were all clear of that, but it was as clear as mud to me. So thank you, staff, for pointing it out. That is the line item showing community board operational grant fund and placemaking. Thank you. Just think it should
Linda,
be
can you
clearer.
highlight that page number again, please?
156. It's listed strategic relationships, and it's in the second portion of that. There's a line item that says under applications of operating funding, internal charges and overheads applied. And that is not something that I think the general public will even understand, or, I mean, I couldn't even find it. So I just think we need to have a little bit more clarity. They are the only two budgets we've got. Our town beautification fund has been pushed out to year 4. So I think it's really clear that to the public, it needs to be made clearer, that's all. Thank you.
We just established that line item to make it clearer.
It is a prescribed layout in terms of what we're governed by, but if we go back to your comment you've made before in terms of highlighting it in front of, in the CD, in terms of that we haven't lost
The amounts and what it is.
the placemaking, and that should be suffice.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Belinda. We'll put that to a vote. All in favour, say aye. Those opposed or abstentions, that's carried. We'll now go to page 138. Number 11, proposed funding impact statements on rates. I will move. If I could get a seconder.
Happy to second.
Thank you, councillor Vucic. Councillor Vucic, any commentary?
Leave it to staff to make any minor amendments, which probably does happen after this meeting.
Councillor Foy.
Thank you, Member for. I'm sure that all the other elected members are really concerned about the percentage of increase for rates for our community at this time, particularly with such high interest rates. I'd just like to query what measures our staff have for financial hardship, particularly people that have large rates bills like over $10,000 for one piece of land, or you know, huge rates bills where 15% or 16% will actually be a significant figure, and how that can be addressed in terms of affordability, given at this time the economic situation.
Thank you, staff. Financial hardship.
Councillor Foy, just correction of the rating relief policies. Page 291. We haven't changed those or reviewed those policies recently, so there's no additional measures for relief that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so that's what I'm raising, given that now we don't rate for unutilized Māori land. That means that the other people that are paying rates are picking up that additional slice of the pie, and we're not receiving any additional subsidies from central government for that. So people are more likely to default on their rates, and because there's no other policies about how we distribute the people that don't pay. So I guess that's just a flag to our operations, how we address it if actually people don't pay. You know, if we have a huge number of people defaulting on payment.
Well, that remains to be seen. Obviously, the trends are slight increases in arrears in rates. We've just done a review of that. I would hope the rating relief policies make provision and give us a framework to manage that. Give ratepayers a framework to apply for relief. I'm assuming that this policy was written to take in all economic cycles, but we could certainly review that in due course if it was required. I think we would take direction from councillors on that.
Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Kia ora. On page 100 and, oh shit, I've lost it. Where the ward rate is, it mentions rating Hupera Road for the first year, but I think that we're already out of the first year of rating Hupera Road. Here we go, page 144, where it talks about lump sum contributions. It says that we won't be seeking any lump sum contributions in respect of any targeted rates. However, we're proposing to offer this option for the proposed Hupera Road ceiling targeted rate. Is that relevant today, or is it just a repeat of the 2021 LTP?
Just a repeat, but it is not relevant.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't have a right, I do not wish to have a right of reply and put that to a vote. All in favour, say aye. Those
Aye.
opposed?
Oh,
Can you start
Yeah.
again?
Sorry, councillor Radich, what was that?
Right, we'll move, the motion's carried. We'll now move to item 12, 135 is the page
Are you-
number.
Oh. You there, my Moko, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to, one question I want to ask. What is the overall rate increase for a normal working family? What would that increase be?
the average increase, councillor Radich, is 16.5% proposed in this consultation document.
Have you put that to the vote? Has it been
No,
put to the vote?
No, that will be the, following all of this, we're adopting the consultation document itself. All of these will inform that number. But remember, that number is only what we go out for submissions from the public on, and that number may not be the number that we ultimately adopt after submissions, hearings, and then deliberations.
What worries me with this increase, we're going to rate people off their own land. That's what's going to happen.
We might also win lotto between now and then. Or, no.
Oh,
No,
what you'll
yeah,
find out.
Councillor Radich. We'll move to 12, the forecast reserve funds. If I could get a seconder to my moving of this one. Councillor McNally. Councillor McNally, any commentary?
I was just looking through the numbers for all these different development services, community services funds. So we've got great funds of cash sitting in cupboard somewhere. Reserve funds, for instance, community services, 5.1 million. So just a book increase. Emergency event reserve, 7.3.
Staff?
Page 136 and 137.
We do have a balance of around $250,000 from our mayoral relief fund. I guess this is where this is captured along with other funding that comes in.
Yeah, these ain't like cash held somewhere. These are just book entries.
Shame, isn't it?
Trust me.
Okay. All right, we'll put this to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions carried. Go to item 13 on page 45, clothing accounting policies. Moved by councillor McNally. Second there. Councillor McNally.
No, it's end of the accounting stuff.
I've got a question on this one, page 49. Rates collected on behalf of the Northern Regional Council are not recognised in the financial statements as the council is acting as an agent for the Northern Regional Council. Do you have a standing query around the potential to remove rating for Regional Council on our ticket, on our bill? Had some questions around, so in here we've got that we're acting as an agent for them, so we don't need to have anything in our financial statements in this space. It's zero-sum game, I'm assuming.
Yes. We collect on their behalf.
Do we get any FTE provision for anything our staff have to do?
No.
Do we get any provision for our computers or our systems having to do calculations? So it does cost us something?
Administratively, from a time and effort standpoint, absolutely.
That we don't get to put a ticket off NRC for. Do they pay us for the postage?
It's in the bill.
Do they pay us for printing?
Yes.
Do they pay us for reputation?
It's not itemised.
They do pay us.
Sure we do. Hang on.
I'd like to move an amendment to stop collecting the rates on behalf of the NRC.
We do for it. For that amendment.
I'll second that.
Seconded by councillor Akina. Councillor Foy, if you'd like to speak to your amendment.
Thank you. I'd just like to support all the matters raised by Mayor Moko, and it's also been debated at our workshops. The regional council's rates have gone up substantially to the tune of over 40% over the last 3 years. And people, when they see the rates bill, assume that that's our increases, and it has a significant reputational risk to us. And it needs to be billed separately by them and collected by them, and they can keep their reputational risk for the increases that their council decides to increase by or not. We already have significant rates increases ourselves, and that needs to be on a separate invoice and to be collected separately so that that reputational risk is not absorbed for both us and regional council.
Councillor Akina. Any further members like to speak to this?
I've got my
Councillor
hand up. I've got my
Bevan.
hand up. Being demoted. The question I have on that is it something that our residents and ratepayers asked for? Ratepayers? Like, is this not something that we should ask them in the consultation document, perhaps? Without knowing how much money they allegedly pay us, I'm uncertain as.
Does this meet thresholds for significance and engagement?
Good question.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Our staff are really quiet.
Okay, if we don't know, then we can just vote on it. Councillor Research.
I can understand the problem and everything. I'm just not sure that if NRC is in a position for its infrastructure to rate themselves directly, and I don't know what impacts there might be down the line. So I'm not comfortable with this decision.
An amendment up with appropriate wording that give staff the ability to formally report back on what that actually means. It's an option.
staff, can we get wording, wording that will be acceptable to our mover and seconder that also give you balance to be able to implement the intent?
They're going to make a suggestion that perhaps the resolutions we could consider giving staff the option to review agency arrangements on behalf of NRC, and we can review our costs and also look at reputational issues and then make a recommendation back to council. I think there's quite will be a bit of a lightning bolt for NRC. Obviously, they have the right to rate ratepayers Northern, and we have a long-standing arrangement by the sound of it to act on their behalf in collecting and invoicing and collecting those rates. I think there should be some consultation with the NRC prior to just cancelling that arrangement.
So request staff, sorry, through the chair, request staff review agency with NRC or, yeah. Staff review, are you happy with that wording?
It doesn't need to be happy with me, it needs to be happy with councillor Foy and councillor Larkin.
Councillor Larkin.
I think that we need to state a timeline. I also think that we need to propose that we are actually looking at pulling out of this agreement because of the reasons stated by councillor Foy. I don't want to go to them and say, hey, we want to talk about this. I want to say, hey, this is what we're going to do if you don't pull your socks up. We're essentially, it's like guy going to work or guy going to the gym while I reap all the rewards. So he's going to lift all the weights and I'm getting muscly. He's not getting anything out of it. That's what's happening in real life. That's my analogy. Or guys going fishing and I'm eating fish.
Okay.
I'm glad that I put a smile on the mayor's face.
It's getting grumpy this week.
Yeah.
Request staff.
There needs to be a timeline.
Yeah, timeframe is. Well, this,
We need to line up with the agreement. Right, we need to look at the agreement with us first and foremost to see if there is a finite date on it. And we also need to probably include the other councils that are within that pool as well.
Why would we need to consider?
Because we're all doing the same thing, but we just need to check because I'm sure we've got something that sort of we're all in it together.
What's the timeline that this can be done by staff, guy?
We need to look at when if there's a date on the agreement.
So yeah, is there an agreement? Is there any legislative support for these arrangements for regional councils?
Yeah, that's what we need to look at. So we do need to.
Most regions do separate billing.
Can we sort of come back like to you with a plan on what the things are required in order to
May meeting
dissolve this?
June.
And then we can do a timeline as to how we move forward with it.
May meeting. It has to be before the deliberations.
Yep.
Because we've raised this matter many times before and nothing has actually been actioned. So it'll be great to see movement on this.
April's hearings.
Councillor Foy and councillor Larkin, are you happy with that? Report back to May council
This is
meeting.
the plan. This is just the plan.
We might disagree
Yes.
with it, but you can give us what.
I'm happy with that.
That's right. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm okay with it.
All right, we will put that to the vote. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed or abstentions.
I wasn't listening.
That's two laughs. All right.
You're on the right track, yeah.
Now, that is an amendment which will
now become a substantive motion for 13 that I will move. Will a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councillor Kappa. Was there anything else from accounting policies? Substantive motion now. All right, we'll put it to the vote. All in favour say aye. Those
Aye.
opposed? Abstentions? That is
Aye.
carried. Now go to page 319. Oh, we got so many learning questions following this one. Okay, and we've got a mover, proposed revenue and financing policy moved by Councillor McNally, seconded by Councillor McNally.
Does this policy allow flexibility in moving funding lines, e.g. roading and operational expenditure? Can we shift money from unsealed metalling to drainage, for instance, after review of the RAM data, prioritise a schedule? And I see we've got targeted rates in there of note 323, the roading uniform rate, and differential roading rate. I'm sure.
Sorry, what page are we on?
Oh, sorry, 321 through to 325, I think it is. Oh, that goes on a bit. But the page where I'm referring to is just the start of it. So the revenue, proposed revenue and financing policy, and in particular, we've got a roading uniform rate and a differential roading rate. Does the policy allow for any flexibility in moving funding lines in our operational budget? You'll know where I'm getting with that.
I'm just looking at you.
For instance, the unsealed road metalling, it's like, it's a peak there. And then the drainage, it's like 11 million versus 2. We shift it. Based on the RAM data, can we find out the priority stuff in the RAM data and use the money appropriately?
Unless you physically have the evidence of that truck parking on that footpath and cracking it there.
If we can, I'd like to second that.
To be fair, I've often footpaths have been built from about.
How much longer here?
Maybe slightly earlier.
No, we're nearly there. Late 10, are we?
So we're on 13, sorry, 14. Sorry, through the chair, was that an amendment you were putting forward?
No, I just want to start.
Just a question.
Does this policy allow any flexibility in moving budget lines from 11 to 113 coding? Engine as well.
No, I'm just.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Then we could get our contractors focusing on the stuff that we need to improve, and it's already, it's in the GPS and in the transport plan. The basics. But our line items are specific.
They're quite defined in terms of their categories, that's why I don't want to answer straight out.
Okay.
So I just need to have a look at that.
I had to read it, but I couldn't find it. But it does say things like the costs and benefits, including consequences of transfer penalty and funding activity distinctly from other. It's all just roading. Period over the which the benefits delivered. We're going to shift it into some of the core maintenance stuff. We should be able to improve the benefits long term. I'm not talking about shifting it from roading to sewage or anything like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but they're quite specific in terms of the categories in which they sit under, so we just need to be very clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeff is online. Is he going to answer that from, or is it, it's a UNDC staff?
Your worship, am I online?
Yes, we can hear you, Jeff.
Okay.
What's all that background chat?
That's an older.
Tell them to be quiet.
Tell those people to stop talking.
Yep, done that. Done that. Okay, so the in our capital works program, we've got funding for drainage, and we've got funding for unsealed metalling. The unsealed metalling is the unsealed rehab program that includes drainage. So that's for the roads that we upgrade, include drainage. The drainage renewals program is for other roads in the program. So that's about $8 million annually across the program. On the OPEX side, we've got maintenance, and in maintenance we've got drainage and metalling, and that's our normal business as usual drainage maintenance and a normal business as usual roading metalling program. So we can shift money within OPEX, although I don't believe there's a need to. We can't shift money between OPEX and the renewals, which is capital program. These programs that we've put up match the funding request we've given to NZTA and justified by the AMP program to justify that request. So council can choose to do whatever it likes within OPEX and within capital to agree, may or may not meet the NZTA funded program, but we believe we've met the councillor's request to invest money in drainage, unsealed roads and seal pavement maintenance to maintain our roads, and they are the highest priority of our current program.
That's a maybe.
Not sure.
Put it in Mayor Stratford.
Sorry, it's old.
Nothing from you, Deputy Mayor Stratford?
Oh, no, sorry, no.
Sorry. I need more than one brain, then I can focus on more than 5 things at once. Councillor Vucic.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Muckle. I just had a question on page 323. And you'll see council's targeted rates are, and you've got sewage capital rate for each council wastewater scheme, and then sewage operating rate. I thought the sewage operating was across the whole district. Is that a change?
No. Can you repeat that?
He's asking if operating rates are of district-wide and capital rates are scheme-based.
The operating for wastewater is district-wide, but it's for those that are connected.
Yeah, so that's an error, is it?
All council wastewater schemes then. It says H currently. Page 323, it's saying that both CapEx and OPEX are targeted rates based on scheme. Councillor Research just asking for clarification. He thought that the OPEX was scheme-wide.
It's classified as district-wide, but it's for those that are connected to the schemes.
So it's still a targeted rate.
Yeah.
No, I see what you mean.
It's written
But it's
as
across.
So
the way
it's,
is that it is.
yeah, I see what you mean. It's a targeted rate, but the rate is charged on a basis of a district-wide operational cost. Yep, thank you.
Councillor Boyd.
Thank you, Mimoko. Just in that same vein of questioning to Mr. Jeff Devine from Roading and the movement of funds under the new long-term plan from both OPEX, or it will be from either OPEX or CapEx, depending on the scope of works for drainage and the timing of finding out for if we're successful with our bid for the funding bid we've made under the GPS. Our deliberations are in June. When will we be finding out about our bid if we wanted to move a motion at that long-term plan deliberation about unsubsidized work for any drainage works to be done?
Through you, Your Worship, NZTA have said they will approve their funding program about September of this year, which will be after your LTP. I suggest if council wishes to move a motion at the time to indicate the direction of any unsubsidised funding left over, you could pass a resolution such as that to say that any unsubsidised funding left over could be used as whatever council wishes.
Thank you, Jeff. I don't think it needs to be an amendment right now, and we can debate it in the deliberations. But just highlighting that the $6 million of unsubsidised seal money, I'll be looking to do a motion relevant to that to do Centre of Excellence works on our unsealed road network to that value. And just to get some feedback from the staff between now and then, because there wouldn't be any difference in financial implications for the rating based on the current budget. But also I'll have to review those numbers that Mr. Devine sent through this morning to Councillor Court and to Steve McNally. So I fully support the matters raised by Steve McNally about more investment in our unsealed road network and drainage.
We'll put 14 to the vote. All in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions carried. Page 351.15, proposed treasury liability and investment policies on moving. Seconder. Right. Councillor Akina, any commentary? Anyone else? We'll put that to a vote. All in favour say aye. Those opposed.
Aye.
Carried. Page 291.16, proposed rating relief policies on moving. Seconder. Well, lack of a seconder. Aye. Councillor Akina. Any commentary, Councillor Akina?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to know if it's okay to speak on behalf of the email that was sent through by Councillor Helgard Harawira.
You want to, you can
Speak
whatever you like.
email.
Seconder.
Okay, so just wanted to, and I think there was an email reply that came through to it, but Councillor Helgard Harawira asked the questions around pages 18 to 19, and if she's still online, she might want to add to that, but the signatories Māori Tanga and the English version for He Paramina Koni Hera, pages 21. We are fundamentally asking ratepayers how we should rate them, but we are in a wait and see after 100 days. Should we wait for the 100 days question mark, pages 22 to 23, and progress capital delivery actions? Does not mention Kaitaia Airport and Sweetwater project.
Sorry, Councillor Akina. Some of that commentary can wait for the consultation document itself. This is for the rating relief policies that we're speaking on right now.
Okay, I think the main concern was around, and we had clarity brought through by Ellie, that under the, was it the scopes for those policies, there was a concern about the term this policy applies to both general title and Māori freehold land, which was clarified by Ali in her email yesterday. That's what from me. Kia ora.
Did you any further commentary? Right, we'll put this to a vote. All in favour say aye. Those opposed or abstentions, it's carried. We'll now go to page 73, item 17, proposed fees and charges schedule. I shall move. Seconder. Councillor Kappa, any commentary? Members, I think that the public will be happy to see that while we have got huge cost increases across multiple things, we are still, as an example, the Ferry, keeping our fees as they are right now. Dog registrations, I think are going up by $1. You know, so there are user pays type fees that we have that we are absorbing the cost of obviously in other areas to try and keep
those charges low for our people. That a fair summation of those fees and charges. Any further commentary?
Sorry, just about the cost of queries. I did have inquiry from members of the public that use that very often. And the concern was about adding the individual tickets to the already tickets that they pay for vehicles. So the local.
Councillor Akina, I will encourage you to have members of the public make submissions to our long-term plan for when we adopt these fees and charges at deliberation, at adoption in June. But these numbers here are what we are putting out there for the public to be able to put feedback on. Is that correct?
But I did adopt question the staff about the concern then, because I did send an email through to ask what we can do in reference to those concerns. So do we actually have the power as council, or is that left of contractors to stop those types of ticketing actions? Is that on us, on the contractors?
Yeah, I do. Send me that. Might cause it.
Okay.
If we take it offline.
Okay.
Through the fee office, so the fee office can put it through to whoever is appropriate, or place up your previous one and bring it for it.
I'll just thank you.
All right, we'll put this to a vote. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, or abstentions, that's carried. We'll now go to 376. Item 18. Planning Roman numeral was a failure. Support information disclaimer. I will move. Seconder. What is the disclaimer? After all of this, we still don't even know. Councillor McNally, any commentary? Is that? Perfect. Right. We'll put that to a vote. All in favour, say aye. Those opposed or abstentions? We'll now go to item B and C. Move those together as one. B, adopt the consultation document for the long-term plan 2020. Delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to approve any final edits and design changes required to the consultation document or any supporting information to finalise documents for printing and distribution. The A1 through to 18 that we just did are going to have changes come about from them. We're also going to, because of that, have some changes to the consultation document itself, especially around, like some of the things that community board and that sort of stuff. I will move that we adopt B and C. If I could get a seconder.
Second.
Councillor McNally.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Radich will come to you. Councillor McNally.
Just want to know if we can add anything to the LTP. This three items come up. Legal entry of heavy say, Taking Bridge, Pakenham Cemetery erosion and pedestrian crossing of the Okanagan Area School, which is across Highway 12. I actually recommended to the people that put those items up that they make a submission and actually explain how they would do that. Which was, do we need to note it in here, or we just leave it to the submission process?
Submission process is what I think.
I've nothing further, sir.
Councillor Radich, then Deputy Mayor Stratford, then Councillor Foy.
Yeah, Mayor Amoko, are you moving the proposed long-term plan now?
Can you say that again, please, Councillor Radich?
Are you proposing to move the long-term plan at this very moment?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mentioned early on that
The consultation doc.
Oh, the consultation document. Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you, Stratford.
Thank you. In the recommendation, it talks about us putting through, like confirming what our preferred options are for those issues. Issue 1 and issue 2, I'm fine with, but should issue 3 be remaining in here, I think that needs to be a decision around this table. Option 1 of provide multi-purpose centres, 2 for Bay of Islands Whangaroa, 1 each for Kaikoura Hokianga and Te Haku is listed as our preferred option, but I would like to put do nothing, like or status quo as a preferred option. If and also would like to change the wording, the impacts. We would not be implementing any changes until July 2025. That is, I have issue with that. You know, if we don't know how much it is, people's jobs may be impacted. I think that would be irresponsible saying that, you know, option 1's our preferred option and then we're implementing July 2025.
So you're moving an amendment to change our preferred option to do nothing?
It's not do nothing, it's status quo. I would like the wording changed to status quo. Status quo. And the date to be, can I have some feedback from staff on what the wording could be changed to make that more accurate?
I'll second this so that it can be debated, but. So from option 3, the amendment is to change the preferred option to option 3, or change option 3 to option 1, would it, you know, make option 3 the preferred option, and to change the title for that option from do nothing to status quo. This is on 341. So that we would be going out to the public to say, we don't want to change levels of service with across our 6 service centres, 6 libraries, 3 eyesights, 1 museum.
And can I just ask our CE guy, this is, I think, the 4th time in this meeting I'm asking for staff clarity on something and I'm just hearing crickets. Can you answer my question, or is there somebody else in the room, please?
With regard to amendment to this section?
Yes, on page 40 and the other 2 boxes on page 41, where it says we would not be implementing any changes until July 2025. What is a better wording that would be more accurate?
We can propose something. I think that was put in there because, and the reason we didn't put financial information here, I think, is because we need some feedback on this consultation to give us some direction in terms of how we might consolidate these facilities and how we might use them in the future. And then we can provide financial information, and then we can provide a timeline of when changes might happen. So I think that we could just take the July 2025 out and not specify any date or any anticipated changes. Just say we're relying on feedback from the consultation.
Can I add to that? Can I add to that, Kōwhai?
Sure.
Can we maybe, as a suggestion, instead of an issue, that we do it as an inform? And this is only a suggestion, that we, because this item can go in as an inform paper, to say that we are looking at these options, and until we have a very clear, we will be coming back at a later stage to go through a proper public consultation on this item.
Yes.
And if that's okay.
I'd
So this
support
could be
that.
moved out of an issue into an informed.
It
So it
still
gives a-
goes in the consultation document, though.
Yes.
Yep.
So would you like that as a part of your amendment wording, Kelly?
Yes, yes, please. Thank you. Thanks. Awesome. And can I just add that I didn't realise that we had an opportunity to feed into the staff work plan or work stream on this. I understand Councillor Foy was working with you on these items, and that, yeah, I think blurs some lines of governance versus management, and it makes me very uneasy. Kia ora.
Councillor Foy, speaking to the amendment, not to the total.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'll speak to this amendment, and then I wanted to move an amendment about roading because I wanted to clarify it wasn't actually moved as a motion or a formal motion. So just to this amendment first, and I'll do a separate motion about roading. I'd like to speak against the motion, and in particular the letter statement from Councillor Stratford about the operations and management. Essentially, the consultation item is there to ask the community, do they want to save money by having multi-use centres? And if we don't ask the question, then how are we supposed to know their response? Everybody has to pay in their rates, and we need to be looking for operational efficiencies. And I thank the staff for their work done on this, and as well the tight timeframes that we had to work under. In terms of the consultation item that's tabled, the actual agenda item that's written, we will deliberate on that and decide at that time. If Councillor Stratford wishes to vote against that at that time, she can do as such. However, as we all are elected members around this table, there are 11 votes, and we may have differing views. It seems that potentially I have a differing view about creating efficiencies and saving ratepayers money on having multi-use centres compared to the current amendment. We need to ask the question. I'll be voting against this, and I'll ask other councillors to vote against the current amendment to ask the public if they'd like to save money and create efficiencies to create community hubs instead of 8 separate buildings that are each costing ratepayers significant funds, and also creating operational efficiencies by doing so.
Thank you, Councillor Foy, and remember that this can all come through deliberations as well. Councillor Vucic, then Councillor Halkiad Harawira.
My question was.
Councillor Halkiad Harawira.
Oh, kia ora. Just a question for page 4041. When it says provide multi-purpose centres for Bay of Islands, Whangaroa. What are those? Is that Tuna Centre and Kawakawa, or Tuna Centre and?
It's not predetermining what it is, Councillor Halkiad Harawira.
What?
It's not predetermining where that is or what that is. It's just
Okay.
It's just saying the number.
All right. I just want to know if there were two clear things. Will other people ask the same thing?
We might put 2 in Kaiu. That's what people say. There's no predetermination on where those sites will be.
Okay.
So it'll inform what the next steps are. If it even passed my head. Yeah. Councillor Vucic, are you back online? Councillor Foy, did you have a point of clarification?
No, I think that it's been heard loud and clear. Just my motion is to leave it as it is, but I do have a further motion as highlighted relating to roading.
Thank you. Councillor Deputy Mayor Stratford, right of reply.
Sorry, can we just get the amendment up on screen, please?
Through the chair, can we just get confirmation then that you're going to remove issue 3 and then?
No, it was change it from issue to form.
Yeah, issue 3 is amended to inform in the consultation document.
Yeah.
So we'll still have the conversation, but
And the
there'll
preferred
be,
option.
and the
option would
preferred
be
option was status quo, which is
option
at
three.
the moment called do nothing, option 3. Option 3 is amended to status quo. Oh yeah, you got that. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so just in my push for this, I think that there's merit in ratifying our buildings to reduce costs, but there's a lot happening in many of our communities that we don't see, and we don't necessarily see stats on, and these service centres and libraries are people's, they're their livelihood. They go there when they're being domestically abused. And so I don't feel having this short lead-in time to making this decision is good, is a good community outcome. So I urge everyone to leave it as a conversation to have over the next year, with another consultation round to happen. Yeah, leave it at that because everyone's getting exhausted.
Put it to the vote. Did you want to vote by division or?
Yes, please.
Vote by division, form up. Thank you, Ellie. I am against the amendment. Deputy Administrator.
I'm for.
Councillor Boyd.
Against.
Councillor Haluida.
Sorry, I'm not even sure what we're voting for, really.
You might want to abstain then.
I'll abstain, yeah.
Councillor Kappa.
I'm for.
Councillor McNally.
I'm abstaining, thanks.
Councillor Radich.
Abstained.
Councillor Rakina.
Can't be.
Councillor Vusic.
Against.
The amendment fails. So we now have a substantive motion.
Can I move in another amendment?
I will move. We've got Councillor Foy first with an amendment.
Earlier in the discussion about roading, it was moved as an amendment about the unsubsidised road ceiling being removed, but from the budget. So my new motion is that that we reallocate the seal extension funding of $6 million over the next 3 years to unsealed metalling, and then in brackets, which includes drainage for the length of the road treated. So basically no additional funding, it's just reallocation of the funding to unsealed road network instead of new seal.
Can I just get clarification from staff, if someone could please open their mouths? If this can be done for this item for the consultation document, is that actually even in there? Or will Councillor Foy have to wait for deliberate?
That'll keep the rates up again. I know.
Councillor Foy is wanting to introduce, because we already voted to remove, so it will be introduce a road metalling fund of $2 million per annum.
No, we've got plenty for road metalling. We don't need that. We need culvert replacement maybe, but not road metalling.
It's reallocate, yeah.
But it's not reallocate because we've already removed it.
Not in the current budget.
Was reapplied to the cycleway, which Mr. Usage moved.
Okay, but let's try. We'll use Councillor Foy's wording. Reallocate the sum. So it's pretty much the same amount that was for road seal extensions will be used for road metalling.
Could be just
That's right, yes. That's right.
Recategorize.
something.
You get that.
So it's loan fund, yeah. So essentially the same bucket of money and spending it on metaling the roads. But that, and then I can read it out to you again if you like.
Have a seconder for this?
Myself, Hilda.
Seconded by councillor Hauki Harawira. Councillor Boyd, if you could please speak to your amendment.
Thank you. I'll just read that out again for the sake of our governance staff. Thank you for being so patient. So the amendment is the reallocation of seal extension funding of $6 million over 3 years or $2 million per year to unsealed metaling, which includes drainage for the lengths of the road treated. We already have the matrix, which we'd use for seal extensions. But essentially what this allows for is additional funding for building up the base course of roads and allowing for the drainage road, fixing our metal roads. We have applied for funding for that from central government. However, the money that we need to actually spend to get our metal roads up to standard will take many decades. What this step here is to work towards doing that faster, because our roads are our economic backbone for our district, and we need to invest in those, particularly our metal roads to our rural people. And we know that the largest area of our metal roads are out west, which we've seen huge number of roads fail because we haven't invested in them. So I'd like to see this additional funding on the basics on our metal roads to give effect to investing in our metal network.
Thank you. We'll go to councillor Hauki Harawira, seconder.
Tautoko.
Deputy Mayor Stratford. Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Sorry, I am here. What budget line does seal extensions come from? That's capital works, and the what is this called? What does Felicity call that?
Sealed road extensions.
Unsealed. So are they coming from the same type of budget from capital?
It's unsubsidized.
Correct, yeah, from the same budget, yeah.
No, isn't upgrades to unsealed roads classed as capital? Is it operational or capital? That's my question, sorry.
Where's Jeff?
It's been a long day.
You there, Mayor Moko?
Yeah.
So what
Your
was
worship.
for is?
Maddie will get a response from Jeff first, and then we'll go to you.
Sorry, Your Worship. Yes, so the both the seal extension is unsubsidised capital works, and the unsealed metaling is unsubsidised capital works. So you can shift it from one to the other, impacting not impacting council rates, or both are debt funded. The only issue is it's unlikely to attract subsidy, but that's an investment of unsubsidised funding.
Can I just ask another question of Jeff Kahika? How much is already in our budget for
sealing?
No, not for sealing, for unsubsidised works.
Unsubsidised metaling?
Metaling, yes.
Yeah, so in the capital program tab, it's there, but it's about $6.5 million in the first year and 7.5 in the second year and 6 in the third year. So we have already pumped up that program based on the councillor's request. And it, just as Councillor Foy said, although we call it unsealed smoothing, it does include the drainage improvements over the lengths of road that we treat. So if the $6 million is 100 k's of road. I don't know the exact figures. So that's also 100 k's of drainage improvements and culvert replacements that we're doing as well. In the capital program, we also have drainage renewals, and that'll be additional roads that we'll do the drainage on that aren't included in the metalling program to try and as everyone said, to try and help us catch up and get ahead on the roading and drainage network across the district. It still take us years to get through it, but we'll be doing it quicker.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for those, allowing me to ask those questions, Kahika. The comment that I'd make is I have to speak against it because unsealed road sealing is different to what you're achieving with these unsealed metalling and drainage. They're two different types of issues that you're addressing. We've got the issue of dust on one hand, that the seal and dust suppression is from another budget. That's what those target, and then on the other hand, you've got the roads that. So I'm sorry, I asked to speak against it. Kahika, I asked some questions and now I'm speaking against it.
Thank you. If you could wrap yourself up.
Done.
Councillor Radich.
Yeah, Mayor Moko, so 54 is saying that unsubsidised money for new ceiling is gone. Is that what you're saying, Felicity?
We already voted on that earlier in the meeting.
I don't get it.
Councillor Kapa.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Councillor McNally, for making this amendment in our previous discussions that centered around the cycle trail. I also want to make a plea to everyone that if it hadn't been for that component, we would not have got into this discussion. Councillor Vucic has already indicated our commitment to the cycle trail. And what will now happen is that a huge amount of organisation and all that sort for the cycle trail that we've inherited will now probably come to an end, or it would have a major impact. An industry that we haven't even allowed to grow, an industry that goes through the centre of Taitokara.
Councillor Kapa, I'll ask you to speak to the amendment.
So I am speaking against the amendment simply because the opportunity of this funding was made to a previous issue that we had, which was around cycle trails. Indications of funding that is already there to the amount of 6 million 1 year, 7 million another year, 6 million as well. Thank you.
I will be speaking against the amendment, not because I don't think it's got any worth. I think there's incredible worth in us putting more money towards certain things, but I want clarity around what our National Land Transport Fund bid is going to be, and I don't want to let the government off, rightfully so, having to subsidise this work that we need done to the tune of 71% of the budget lines that we put in there. Also to speak in support of what Deputy Mayor Stratford did, although I did cut her off. It is more complex than simply saying that we're moving it from A to B. We've already agreed to remove this one. So I'll be voting against this amendment. That doesn't exclude it though from coming up. A lot of this meeting, we've done a lot of things that really what we should be doing is waiting for our people to tell us what they think throughout the consultation period, and for us to make decisions in the deliberation period when we actually adopt our long-term plan. So we've foreshadowed that ever so slightly. Doesn't mean to say that I don't learn more things and am going to support something like this when we actually get to deliberations, where we do move things around, where we do introduce things. I just think it's not the appropriate time for us to be doing it here and now, and I need to know more information. We'll go to councillor Foy for a right of reply.
Thank you, Mayor Moko. So on this item here, first and foremost, thank you to Councillor McNally and his advocacy about our unsealed road network. The current amendment or the current motion about the unsubsidised sealing will allow not only for the increase in the base course strengthening of our roads and improved basics such as drainage, but will also future-proof much cheaper sealing for when we do choose to seal. This is a strategic way that our council can go about increasing the base course strength of our road network so that we can get around our roading network to improve the rural standard for metal, but also allow for the cheaper sealing of it at a later time when we do have the additional cash flow to reintroduce the sealing. It's a sensible move and it makes sense about the priorities to prioritise fixing our roads, particularly for our western area and for our huge 1,650 kilometre network. And we need to think about those people on the metal roads and they deserve better. And this is a motion to support that.
We'll put that to a vote. All in favour of the amendment, say aye.
No.
Aye. By division.
Vote by division. I'm against. Deputy Mayor Stratford is against.
Against.
Councillor Foy is for. Councillor Hauki Harawira.
Aye.
Councillor Kapa.
Against.
Councillor McNally. Against. Councillor Radich.
Abstained.
Councillor Akina.
Abstain.
Councillor Vusic.
Against.
Right, the amendment fails. We will now go to a substantive motion that I'm moving, seconded by Councillor McNally. This is for the consultation document as a whole. I will put that to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Against, vote by division.
Vote by division for the consultation document, and this is for B and C. It's a substantive motion, including the two failed amendments. Vote by division, please. I'm in favour. Deputy Mayor Stratford is against. Councillor Foy.
Favour.
Councillor Hauki Harawira.
Against.
Councillor Kapa. Councillor McNally. For. Councillor Radich.
Against.
Councillor Akina.
Aye.
Councillor Vusic.
Aye.
Motion is carried. I will now close us with Karakia.
Well done, Moko.
Just wanted to speak to the delegated authority to make any final edits and just to say that we will have to make changes to the key dates specified here, 14th of March for the start date for the consultation. We'll have to change a little bit just because we're going to have to take into consideration the amendments and the new resolutions made today. See how they flow through the documents and supporting information. Likewise with the submission days, we may need to change those. We'll be sticking with the deliberation dates and adoption dates.
Thank you. If we can please ensure we expedite the uploading of this council meeting to our online platforms. I've had a number of messages from members of the community and also the media who were expecting to be able to watch this live stream. So this will have to be put up quickly, please. I'll close this off with karakia. Ko te tapu ngā kōrero ka irikia ki ngā pātua tēnei whare haumi e hui e taiki.
Can we get it out part of it?